Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of TrueTalk. Today we're going to be covering, and this is my favourite video series because it's the one that I can really talk to you guys about personal experiences, and in my short life, because I'm only 18 and I've not been through that much compared to other people, but I just love TrueTalk because I can talk to you guys honestly and about personal things, and experiences that I've had, and I hope that these videos do help some people out there. So today, on this episode of TrueTalk, we're going to be talking about death. So, today in TrueTalk, we're talking about death. Now, death is such a wide topic, but specifically for me, I'm going to be talking to you about the death of relatives because that's what I have experienced in my own life. Everyone's experienced different things. Obviously you can criticize me all you want, but also remember that death is something very individual. And people deal with death in a very individual way. So there is no right or wrong way to deal with death. It's just something that has to be dealt with in an individual, personal way. So for me, I've experienced death twice. Not me personally, but I've experienced death around me twice. My granddad, who died in 2011, and my gran, who died just last year, just over a year ago now. So I'm going to be focusing more on my gran and her death, and sort of how I dealt with that and what I went through and everything like that. So first of all, I wanted to cover the topic of what do you do when a person, is dying? How do you deal with that time? Because it could be a year, it could be a month, it could be a day, it depends on the situation. But for me personally, I didn't go to see my gran, and it was the same for my granddad. I never went to go and see them. I think the last time I saw my gran was about 5 months before she actually died. That's just how I dealt with it. I felt that it was better to just stay away, and there was plenty of people around her. She wasn't on her own or anything. I just felt that it was better for me, and I could deal with it in my own way by taking a step back. Now you could criticize me and you could say that is so selfish of you, and okay then, it might be selfish of me to do that, but that's just how I dealt with the situation. And it was the same with my granddad. I think it was about 2 months. The last time I saw him was about 2 months before he died. But that's just how I deal with that situation. If she'd ask for me or something they needed help with her or something like that, then obviously I would be there. But if I could stay away, I most likely will do, because I think that's just the way that I deal with that situation. And that's fine. It's okay to step back and take a step back. And the main reason for me doing that is because I wanted to remember my gran, how I, in a positive way, the way that she brought me up and my childhood and things like that. That's what I want to remember from her, not when she was laid in a hospital bed. That's not what I want to remember. So you could say that's selfish, but for me, it's just the way that I deal with that situation. So also another topic that I wanted to sort of talk about, and that sort of intertwines with all of this, is The topic of going to see someone after they've died. And this is one that a lot of people have opinions on, and they're usually never in the middle, they're usually at opposite ends of the spectrum. This end of the spectrum is people who, will go and see people after they've died, and they're happy about doing that, and it doesn't bother them at all, and then they can sit there for hours and just be with the person, and just go to look at them and things like that. But for me, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I just don't feel any need to do that. I have no interest in going to see that person after they've died, again, because it's about not wanting to remember that person as the lead in a coffin, and that just doesn't do anything for me at all. And again, it's all about individual preference. It's all about how you can best deal with the situation of death. But for me, it just wouldn't be a positive thing for me to go and see someone after they've died. That's what I would remember of them. If I saw someone who I loved and they died and I went to go and see them, that would be the image that I would remember of them for the rest of my life, and it would haunt me. So I would never want to do that to myself. I think it would just be horrible. I wouldn't want to do that at all, because I want to remember that person as I want to remember them, from my childhood and things like that. That's how I want to remember them, not as being led in a coffin. But again, individual preference, everybody is different. And death can sort of show that individuality as well. People deal with it differently, but death can really bring out the individuality in people, and their beliefs and everything as well. One little side note is your beliefs also influence, how you deal with death, because, if you are religious, then you'll believe most likely that that person's going to go to heaven, and they'll be up there watching down on you. But if you're not religious, maybe you wouldn't believe that. Or depending on your religion, your religion might say that they've come back as something else, So whatever your religion is, maybe it's easier for you, maybe it's more comforting to you to have that religion at that moment in time, and to have those beliefs. I'm not going to get into a discussion of religion in this topic, but yeah, I think religion is definitely intertwined in death. There's a lot that can be said about it, and religion is very much a big part of death. So also, one final thing is, just try and make it the most comfortable that you can. Just death is such a painful time. So doing whatever makes you feel the most comfortable is such a positive thing to do during this very negative, dark time. But death doesn't have to be like that. Death is all about remembrance, celebration, and it is also about emotions, whether that be sadness or happiness or regret, perhaps. It brings all of these emotions out from people. But it is a celebration, it is a remembrance. That's why we have things like funerals. So it is all about the individual choice of a person to how they deal with this situation. Going to someone's grave might be helpful for some people. I recently visited my grandma and granddad's grave, and knowing that it looked so beautiful, and there was so many flowers, and it was presented so beautifully, just made me feel a little bit better, so just these little things that make you feel better, that is fantastic. So I would definitely encourage anybody who, you know, is going through this to find different ways to help you deal with it, you know. And if going to someone, if being by their side to the very, very last second of their life is going to make you feel more comfortable and make you feel better, then do it. But also at the same time, if you want to step back and move away and just remember the person how you wish to, you know, that's also fine, because it's all about the individual, you know, and it's all about trying to make this painful, emotional time the most comfortable it could possibly be. You know, death is not easy at all in any circumstance, whether it be, you know, a surprise death, you know, a shock, or whether it be something that's very long and drawn out and you know it's going to happen. It doesn't matter what type of death it is, it's still very sad and very painful. So that was my way of dealing with death. Everyone is different, and it all depends on your religion, your culture, your individual personality, your preferences, your family as well. But, you know, this channel and TrueTalk is all about telling people things about yourself, and maybe this will help someone. I hope it does. I hope it does help someone out there who is dealing with death, whether it be of a relative, a friend, or their or someone, their partner or husband or something. I hope it does help them, you know. Also, another technique is, another thing to do that might help you is, you know, during the funeral, if it's not gone already, you know, just stand up and say something, you know, do a speech or get involved, do a reading, or just carry the coffin in, or make it look beautiful, you know. Anything like that can really comfort people, and that's what death is all about. It's about remembrance, celebration, emotions, individuality, but also comfort, trying to comfort yourself in this situation. You know, so dealing with death, it's something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. You know, these emotions that I'm talking about, they're not gonna go. They're not gonna go. As time goes on, yeah, you might forget about it and things like that, and it might become distorted as time goes on, because you forget certain aspects of whatever's happened, but you'll never forget those emotions, and those emotions will always be with you. But whether they be happy or sad emotions, they are still there, and I think it is good to hold on to them a little bit. You know, it is good to remember those emotions and acknowledge them and accept them as well. So yeah, that was my video on dealing with death. It is quite an in-depth one, it's quite a gloomy one, you know. I know it's not the most exciting of videos, but I do hope it's helped some people out there. You know, if it has, then that's great, and that means that this channel is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's supposed to be here to help people learn, to help people deal with things, and yeah, just understand things as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below and let me know of your opinions. You know, do you agree with how I deal with death, or do you not agree with it? But also tell me your own experiences if you feel comfortable doing that. You know, only if you feel comfortable with the public knowing, with other people knowing what you've been through, you know. And if you don't feel comfortable and you want it to be more private between me and you, then email me. It's brt@brandonreesetaylor.com. So yeah, email me. It's also in the about section of my channel. You can just scroll down and my email's there as well if you want to click on that. And yeah, I really am interested in what you guys have been through, and just learning about people's experiences and how you've dealt with that. And if you've dealt with it in a totally opposite way to me, let me know. Let me know what works for you.